Welcome to this live streaming of the final of the Nordic Championships in snooker here from Copenhagen Pool and Snooker House in Copenhagen, Bernhard Bangs Alle 31. My name is Hans-Peter Roth and I will be joined by Ron Florix in a minute. In the booth today, please excuse for any ambient noise, we are situated right next to the bar and we have had a bit of audio problems leading up to this YouTube broadcast, which means that we only have one microphone and that will probably pick up whenever a coffee is being served or whenever somebody asks for anything out of the bar. So please excuse any ambient noise and please also excuse if you cannot hear everything that goes on around the table. But as I said, we have some audio issues. Rune Kampe from Denmark is breaking off in this first train, best of 7, against young Benjamin McCabe from Sweden. Benjamin McCabe leading off in his way of playing snooker. We know from the Swedish coach that Benjamin has a very offensive approach to snooker. That does not mean that he is a reckless player. He is actually a very well-vested player into all aspects of snooker, both strategic, tactically, and technically. But we will probably see a very offensive Benjamin McCabe here trying to get ahead swiftly and quickly in order to settle down. It is, after all, only his second Nordic Championships, whereas Rune Kampe has been part of this Nordic snooker scene for a substantial amount of years. Rune Kampe just escaping a free 6 points for Benjamin McCabe there. That was clearly not what Rune was looking for, however. The table leaves no option for Benjamin McCabe to the right corner, blocked by the pink. So he's left with considering a pot to the left corner pocket, and that would have to be a double then. And now Ron Florix has joined me here in the commentary booth under these very intimistic conditions, but we will try and do our best. Hi Ron, good to see you.
Hey, hello, how are we doing? We're improvising a bit, I suppose. This should be good. This is a cracking match, this. I think it's cool that it's a young up-and-coming player against a very experienced player, so it should make for a very interesting matchup, this. And both have been playing well all through the tournament, so this could get very interesting indeed.
We have
no sound from the table at all.
Ben here having a moment with the cue ball on the pot on pink.
Yeah, this is a seriously tricky position to do something from. And it's of course the jaw of the corner pocket being in the way as well. That won't make it any easier.
So he's stuck between a rock and a hard pass, so to speak, because the safe shot is not easy and neither is the pot, so this is what he's left with. If they can continue doing this little nudge to the cue ball, we could be ending up having the first frame being a re-rack, but it looks like Rune is deciding to open up the situation and move the cue ball down to behind the minor colors and continue from there.
Yeah, he could just squeeze past the red, so this will open it up considerably. Enough? Just avoided it.
Rune using all inches of the table here. First the pink getting stuck almost in the right corner pocket, and now the cue ball in the top left pocket.
And there's such a difference in age here as well. I mean, Rune is 44 and Benjamin is only 19, so I think Rune has been playing for longer than Benjamin's been alive. You won't thank me for saying that, but it's an interesting fact, I'd say.
But again here, Benjamin McCabe insisting on taking his opportunities at the table and trying to see if he can make something out of it. Not an easy double to the right corner pocket there, and it didn't pay off, but
he is very attacking, and he was that yesterday as well. I commentated on this quarterfinal, the last 4 frames or so of that, and he goes for absolutely everything, which is alright if you make most of it. So he's a spectacular player. Like all of these young players, really, they're all attacking, they all go for their shots. It makes it very fun to watch, I say.
Ooh, that's a foul and a miss by Rune on the yellow. Not too serious though, of course, but still, you don't want to award the opponent any unnecessary points. I spoke with Kim Hartman, the Swedish captain, just before the match, and he also said, just as you noted there, Ron, that Benjamin is a very attacking type of player, but as Kim said, it's interesting that Benjamin is actually one of the players on the Swedish team that Kim can have the most in-depth conversations about the game of snooker with. So yes, he's a very offensive player, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't master all aspects of the game, including the safe play and the strategy and the tactics of the whole game, which is a very, very good combination. You can hope that he can really make it.
That's actually something I think generally applies to snooker, because the last maybe 10 years or so, the young players coming through, they've been very attacking. Take Judd Trump as the obvious example. And then when they get into, the European and World Amateur Championships, and when they get on the main tour in Judd's case, they still play their own game, but then they realize that only attack does not work. And the youth players these days are starting to focus more and more on all aspects of the game. So their safety is improving while they still have this attacking break building side to them. So, we're getting close to the perfect generation of players soon.
High promises, that's for sure, and high promise for, I think, seeing this Nordic Championship here. A lot of young players, a lot of talent, and also I think in general the snooker scene in the Nordic region is in a very good position. I think a lot of focus on the young talents in the clubs and with the associations out and about in the Nordic region. So we have high hopes, I think, don't we, Ron?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, there's 5 countries represented here, and all 5 countries sent really, really strong teams. And considering that none of the Nordic countries really have a very strong, very long snooker tradition, it's quite something to have built up. And I live in Sweden myself, and most of the snooker in Sweden goes on in Stockholm, and I live in the south, so I don't see very much of them. But I do try and keep an extra eye on the Swedish players. And all of these young players, it's the same group as it was 2 years ago, but they've made such big leaps forward. I mean, they're a danger even in the European and the World Amateur tournaments now, and they get through the group stages usually, so it's going forward at a nice pace. I've seen some talent here in Denmark as well. There's a couple of young guys here that are making 40 breaks for fun.
Exactly.
So it's heading the right way.
Which the rest of us can only hope to one day accomplish, and they're already doing it. I think that looking at like Benjamin again here, I mean, at age 13 he participated in the under 21 World Championships in Malta, and I mean quickly became a spectator favorite down there. So the talent is obviously there. It's how it's being developed and nourished, so to speak.
Yeah, and he's only improving because only last year when this tournament was in Oslo, he was in the semi-finals, and this year he's already made it one stage further than that. And I mean, there was 2 Swedes in the semi-finals this year, so this Swedish team is just very strong. But then, counter to that, we have the man who's 12 times Danish champion. I mean, if you look at snooker players in Denmark, it's Rune all the way.
Yes.
I mean, the players below him are getting better and better, and of course, a player like Alan Norvak especially deserves a mention.
Yes, 6-time Danish champion, so
Yeah.
no mean feat in his own right.
Definitely, he's a very, very strong competitor as well. But yeah, Rune is the man who really dominates snooker in Denmark. But I spoke to him before, and he said that he's not as certain of his position as he was before because all the players below him, they're improving in number as well as in quality. So he's going to get trouble at some point.
And here he seemed to have gotten himself into trouble, leaving an obvious pot to the right corner pocket on the red above the pink. And if Benjamin can clear this first pot, the table does offer some promise.
Definitely. The reds are spread. It takes a bit of work to get on the color, but once the black is out of the way and the 2 reds just below the black are out of the way, then the pink and black go pretty much everywhere. And then you're looking at a frame winner. And that's the one thing we've really been missing from these players, especially in the semi-finals. They were hard-fought battles. So, especially Rune, whose match I saw fully, he couldn't really get a scoring opportunity grinded out, and there's a lot of losing position and such. So, we're hoping that in the final they both play their top game and get their scoring going.
But we have seen some good breaks here. I mean, I know that Rune did 131, I think, against David Frew, actually, who was reffing the match.
113.
113. Well, right digits, wrong order.
Yeah, that's the only century we've had so far. So we'd love to have another one in the final, wouldn't we? That would be great. But this has been an excellent tournament, and it shows the very healthy state that snooker in the Nordic countries is in. And these Nordic countries, I mean, they're not the first countries you'd think of if you say snooker, but of course, there is 2 players on the main tour that come from these parts.
Yep.
All right, they both have a strong English backgrounds to them, but Kurt Mafflin and Robin Hull for Finland and Norway.
Yes.
Forces to be reckoned with.
Yeah. There we saw Robin Hull against the young Belgian protege
Luca
Bracel in the PTC tournament, or was it
the shootout?
In the shootout,
final.
sorry, yes, in the shootout. Which was, I mean, interesting situation to find those 2 guys in out of all the type of tournaments you can see out there. The shootout, which is a stressful, hectic kind of situation, and then on an international scene against some of the best players in the world. That was really an amazing effort by those 2 guys.
Well, I mean, Finland against Belgium in a large professional snooker final, that's a first, isn't it?
Yes, I would have put in restraints and in the rubber cell if I said that a year ago.
Yeah, pretty much. A cracking pot there. Really a lovely pot. And from where we're sitting, we can just about see that black goes. So this is a chance for Rune.
And this is, of course, his home club. I mean, he knows these tables very well, and that must, of course, mean something when you're playing these kinds of high tension matches.
Yeah, well, all these players, I mean, they all have the competition experience, and they're used to switching tables, switching environments. But the real finesse safety shots, that's where you see the difference. If you switch a color and the white from top to bottom cushion, if you make them go past each other, you really want to glue both balls to the cushion, and for that you must know the speed of the table very accurately. So that's where Rune maybe has a slight advantage. But these tables are actually very, very good, and they're very consistent as well. And the cloth is only, I think, 2 weeks old.
Yes.
So
and extremely fast, because what we've seen a tendency here during the tournament is that the white seems to get a bit away from the players when they try to play the next position, to play the position part of the shot.
Yeah.
And this is what happens to Rune here again. I mean, he was clearly looking for blue, but now he ends up with a tricky rest shot.
Yeah, that's clearly been the problem in the last match between Rune and Jiri Virtanen as well. They just couldn't get full control over the cue ball. And Rune told me afterwards there was a fair amount of kicks as well. it's a bit hard for us to determine those from where we are, especially since we unfortunately don't have sound from the table, for which we do apologize. But no, so there is the odd kick out here.
That's a
That is
well
a
played shot.
fantastic pot.
Yes.
Excellent position.
And we know that Rune is capable of it. I mean, he is, after all, the only Dane, I think, one of the few ones in this region who've managed to pull off a 147.
He's the only Dane, definitely. And I don't know of many other maxes. I mean, Kurt Maflin from Norway obviously made one in professional tournaments. Robin Hall also pulled this off. I'm not sure if Robin Hall made one in a professional tournament, but I know he made one in competition. No Swedish player has made a maximum. Icelandic? I'm not sure. Helgason might have done.
Knowledge from the knowledgeable spectator group here at Copenhagen Pool and Snooker House offering this insight. All enthusiastic people here looking for some great snooker this afternoon.
Ooh. Never sacrifice pots for position. He's got the position, but he misses the pot, so the chance goes to Benjamin. 17 all. Well, that has complicated things a bit. Nothing easy to go at here. And he doesn't want too many of those sorts of misses, because those really eat into your motivation as well and into your positive outlook.
Ron, we're trying something here, is that on the YouTube feed there is actually a live chat functionality. So if any of you out there watching have any questions for Ron here, who is, after all, one of the more very knowledgeable people, I took the liberty of calling him the Snooker Data Oracle. Please feel free to send off your questions on the YouTube live channel, and we will see if Ron cannot dig out an answer from his enormous data and knowledge of this fantastic game of snooker.
Yeah, there's also my Twitter account, qtracker_Ron, so feel free to tweet me.
Even better,
any
yes.
questions. So, or let us know you're watching, that's a good start. Maybe we're talking to ourselves.
Yes. Maybe someone was even wishing we were talking to ourselves. Now, getting back into the action here, Benjamin McCabe has converted the miss by Rune to a couple of pots, and now looking to continue his break here.
Yeah, the middle of these three reds passes, and that will open up the other two. Slightly tricky position on the black, but he should be fine here, and that gets the black onto its spot, thus giving him a bit more of a normal situation, really. It's always nicer when the colors are on their spots, because you can play position based on what you're used to. You don't have to improvise as much. And there's a few open reds here. There's about 4 which are fairly easily potable, and then there's 2, one by the pink and one on the extreme right hand side, that are a bit tricky. They're a bit tied up. But he could build quite a decent lead here.
And again, there's nothing wrong, or even it's very clever, I think, of Benjamin here to say, I'm going to focus on the blue, as you said. It's on the right spot, and it gives him the opportunity to develop a break from a more natural kind of approach. So I think good decision here.
Exactly, and these reds are fairly spread out, so it's always nice to be in the middle of the table with the white, because then you can basically move in any direction. All you really need is an angle. In snooker, you never really want to be straight on any ball.
Unless you're Neil Robertson and you have so much cue power that you just send it 5 times around the table with a with a draw shot.
Yeah, not many of us are blessed with that. I did mention though in the last match as well that that's one of the reasons why I really love watching Rune, because he's got that touch that Ronnie O'Sullivan also has, and he can get a huge amount of movement out of the ball just by touch. He doesn't need a lot of power to throw the cue ball off two cushions. He's really good to watch in that, and he's really good around the black spot as well. So as you already mentioned, he's the only man in Denmark to have made a 147, so he knows how to score.
He can compose those breaks, that's for sure.
He actually made a century against me in training maybe a year and a half or so ago, 127. And that was when I was here practicing for, I was going to a PTC at the time, and I played him 2 best of 7s and I lost 4-0 twice, so that was perfect motivation. Told him I'll bring my gloves next time.
Exactly.
So, but the same can be said of Benjamin. I mean, he's a prolific centuries maker within Sweden.
Yeah, I mean, he was in the Baltic Cup Grand Finale and in the semi-final. Well, that's in 2014, but in the semi-final, he still composed. That's 2 years ago. He composed a 111 break, which is pretty good stuff for a young player in that situation, huh?
That was in the deciding frame, I believe.
Exactly.
So, you know, when it really matters, this boy can score. I actually hardly recognized him because he used to have very long hair, and all of the pictures that are usually on the live scoring system of him still have old pictures of him with long hair. So I went, is that him or not?
So here, decision time, Ron.
Well, he has a decent lead, and from what Rune has shown so far, I would say it's worth a shot at this red into the left middle, or in the corner even.
Ooh, does he fluke it into the right? No, it comes out.
You see, the only red he could leave there was the one he took on, so that's always worth a chance, especially when you're this far ahead. 33 points the lead for McCabe, 51 left on the table.
Oh, it gets a good bounce and comes away from the hole, so white firmly placed in the top cushion, and the safe game can begin.
Yeah.
It's something that underestimate. I really enjoy this part of the game, I must say. It's and when people ask where this fascination with snooker comes and this game, where does it come from? I usually try and tell people that it's the same thing if you watch the Tour de France, and if you only take it for about 150 guys bicycling for 7 hours in a row, if that's all you see, then that's all you get. But if you start grasping the tactical and strategical parts of the whole sport, it's the same thing with snooker. Yes, it's on the surface it is what it is, but if once you get into it, it quickly evolves on you, and you really start to see the many nuances of this game.
And especially the safety element, as you say. I mean, it's often referred to as snooker being chess with balls, which is basically true, because the safety element in this game and the strategic element in this game is absolutely massive, as well as the scoring thing. And that's another thing I like about snooker. It's never the same, and there's all these different aspects, you know. And there's players that on one hand they make centuries in 5 minutes flat, and on the other hand they grind out 30-40 minute safety duels. So this game never ceases to fascinate. Oh, he got a nice nudge on that blue there.
Yes, you won't be too unhappy with that. It's not as much for Rune now to find the red. It's more how to get around the table and back down in the top cushion.
Yeah, even if he takes his red on as a shot to nothing, he has to avoid the top corner,
which he doesn't.
And that's why he missed the pot. He had to force that cue ball away from the top left corner. It was tricky if you have to do a lot of work with the cue ball. That's also why the positional element, of course, is so important. You want easy positions so that you don't have to do a lot of work to get on your next shot. Our referee, David Frew, from Norway, Scotland originally, and he'll be familiar to you all if you saw the semi-final earlier today, as he was my commentary partner on that occasion.
Yes, he's a real energy force now in Norwegian snooker, isn't he? Having co-opener of the Oslo Snooker Club. Normally, it's been Trondheim who's been the starting spot, so to speak, and the force to be reckoned with in Norwegian snooker, Trondheim Club. But now I think he's put a lot of effort into creating something out of Oslo.
Yeah, Oslo Snooker has taken over, and it's the same here in Denmark with this very club. I mean, they have the best player in Denmark playing here, so this club is definitely doing something right. And conditions are always top quality here. I mean, you always get good tables, and the balls are always polished. It's a very nice environment to play snooker in.
Yeah, hats off to Lasse Petersen, who is the founder of Copenhagen Pool and Snooker House. He has really created a very unique setting for snooker. And if ever in Copenhagen, do not cheat yourself out of the opportunity to see this fantastic club and play some of these fantastic tables. It's very unique in this area of the world.
Mm. So far, no way back for Rune in this frame yet. The safety shots keep on coming, but the frame is not really developing for Rune yet, although it is now.
For Benjamin.
That was a very bad shot, and that I think will seal the deal on this frame.
So from a match point of view, this is actually what we were, so to speak, hoping for. We wanted Benjamin to get a good firm start in this match, so that we have all the opportunities to have as many frames of snooker here in this final of the Nordic Championships.
Just wait for the coffee machine because you won't hear a word otherwise. Yes, it's a good sign indeed. But he does need another red to be absolutely sure. He could definitely do with one more red here. 41, the deficit for Rune. 43 left on the table. There's that lovely long red.
Yes.
Position on the black looks to be forthcoming. There we are. Nice angle to get back up for that last red. But his trouble isn't over because he needs the black or the pink off this red. He needs the black to start with. Otherwise he'll require a snooker.
And then he needs to get some kind of angle on the red down on the cushion, and it's not an easy one to develop, is it?
Oh, this does not look good. He got very lucky not to snooker himself there. Very lucky indeed not to snooker himself.
The important part was not to miss the black on the pot, because that would have left him needing snookers to take the frame. So yes, important to get the pot, and then let's see what he does now with the red in how he negotiates this, which must be a safe shot.
Yeah, it's fairly easy to leave the white at the top end of the table and push the red down. I think the thing he's trying to figure out is how to avoid that red landing over the corner pocket. That's the obvious danger here.
He decides to leave the red on the low cushion there and send the cue ball down to the middle of the table instead. Maybe he had hoped to snooker Benjamin here, but he can easily see the red between the green and the yellow.
Well, he's going to get a snooker back, I'd say. Ooh, not a good hit.
Not a good hit either, no. He may be left with maybe in a full red, maybe at least a half red, passing the yellow here.
I'd say he can see this fully.
Yes.
He might go for the pot down in the corner, actually.
Ooh, and he does.
He does, and he doesn't.
Yes. And
this should seal the deal for Benjamin.
And with that red disappearing, also disappears the chances of Rune getting a part of this first frame. And it's Benjamin McCabe, Sweden, of age of only 19. Who misses the black? Ooh. Do you come back in there now if you're Rune? Yes, you do, apparently.
Well, I don't like playing on for snookers myself, so I wouldn't, but Rune has other ideas. He definitely should have made sure of that black, Benjamin, and that's a thing that's very important actually. It's one thing to get a good lead and to get over that snooker's required line, but then you also want to actually kill the frame off as quickly as possible, because if this turns into a long safety duel, even if he wins the frame in the end, it takes a lot of energy out of you, and it's kind of unnecessary in a way, so you really need to kill the frame off when you have the chance.
Yes.
And that black, just make sure of the pots, that's all you need.
Fantastic shot here by Benjamin McCabe, I must say. Doesn't tremble at all and manages to get enough of the yellow and avoid the pink.
$34 points the difference, 27 on, so that's 2 4-point snookers. And there's another one.
And this doesn't get easier with the cue ball being placed firmly down against the cushion. It doesn't give Benjamin much to work with. And indeed,
the first. He's left a free ball as well, I think, from the looks of it.
Rune is blocking our. Yeah, he has left the free ball, but there's no obvious putt from that free ball from into the ball, so you can definitely hear. So the question is what he does. Give Benjamin a. Either a cut on the black, or it's brown or green.
Or safety off the brown.
Or safety off the brown, yes.
Park him behind the green. Somewhere in between.
Something like that is what Rune was looking for.
Might just be able to swerve around this.
Can he?
And that's a nice hit.
That's well played by the young Swede. So now Rune can sneak in behind the black and continue this cat and mouse aspect of the game of snooker. But that is always easier said than done, and Rune takes his time to consider his options.
Tried to sneak that behind the black.
He wasn't comfortable with the angle, you could see, and he took another look at it, but decided to go for it and didn't quite pull it off, did he?
And the risk with that is that he has left the yellow, which he was bound to do if he didn't get behind the black. There was a downside in that shot selection, and that should really seal the deal for this frame.
Well, we're back to 2 snookers.
Focus everything on the pots here.
And commentator curse kicks in again.
This looks good if he doesn't go in off.
good piece of thinking.
He was very close there, because if you hit the jaw a little bit thicker on either side, then that is an extremely good snooker.
Yes. There goes frame 1 to Benjamin McCabe.
Certainly is 1-0.
I'm daring the commentator curse here.
There's no way back from this. I mean, that's the young Swedes drawing first blood. 1-0 up on the 12 times Danish champion. So the final has taken off here at the 2016 Nordic Snooker Championships. We're still live from the Copenhagen Pool Snooker House here in Copenhagen. And the young Swede Benjamin McCabe has just taken the first frame over Rune Kampe. No break in the second frame. And I mean, it has to be said, Benjamin took the control in the first frame and pretty much kept it throughout the whole frame. He didn't kill it off as quickly as he maybe should have. But there was never really very much doubt about who was going to win that. And it's a fairly aggressive break shot. Quite a lot of reds opened here.
Same approach that Benjamin had in the semi-final against his compatriot from Sweden. Both young players from Sweden playing very aggressive break-off shots, not being too afraid of leaving reds out on the table, because they know that if they place the cue ball well, they will have an equally good chance of getting something going with an open table. And here Rune again, not quite cueing that well. Double kick there on the red leaves another opportunity for Benjamin McCabe. Just what he wanted.
Yeah, no, I mean, the double kiss was, there's an aspect of bad luck to that. But he didn't get very close with his attempt. And actually, these two played in this very tournament last year in the semi-final stage, and then it was very much Rune who dominated, and he actually beat McCabe 4-1. But so far in this match, the boot's on the other foot.
Yep.
And this is where that fairly aggressive break shot is an advantage, because now the reds are open, so you have 4 or 5 loose-ish reds to go for here. You have something to work with.
Yes. And clear air around the black. So even though the reds have crawled up on and around the pink, it's still both black and blue are well in play for McCabe here.
I would figure he'd take that in the middle rather than the corner.
That's what I was looking for as well. But the thing is that Ben, and this is of course all something I've gotten from Kim Hartman, is that Benjamin says that he gets his confidence from his long putts. So when other players normally will try and build the confidence around the close putting and the game around the head of the table, Benjamin actually says that when he starts putting the long putts, everything else develops for him. So it's a top-down kind of approach to snooker, whereas most other players will come bottom-up.
At the same time, I can understand them, because I mean, if you make long putts and if you make them consistently, then it's a sign that you're hitting the ball well. You're hitting it true. Like you have to hit the ball properly, usually in the middle, to make a long putt, purely because of the distance involved. So it shows you, if you're starting to make long putts, okay, I'm cueing well.
Yes.
And then the rest of the shots are comparatively easy. So there is a logic behind that, I'd say.
And if we get a chance to see Benjamin queuing up here at the head of the table, you will notice that his right hand has a very docile way of holding his cue. It's just a one finger kind of support scenario, and it is a very elegant way of cueing, I think.
Scoring opportunity for Rune here. This is a decent chance to bite back, actually. Those reds, the cluster of reds there, they're all in sort of lying in a way where if you pot one red, you open another up. So if he gets that far, and if he approaches this pack correctly, then this could be a frame winner.
And that's the flip side of Benjamin's approach, isn't it? I mean, he got the chance, but he missed, and now Rune takes over this very high potential kind of table.
Lovely hit. And this is where Rune really is dangerous. I mean, okay, he's a bit annoyed that he finished lower on this red than he wanted, but the advantage of that is that he can roll through the pack and push him open a little bit and still maintain some sort of position on the black.
Yes. He wasn't looking to open up the pack further at this point of time, but as you say, it's if he can continue the break, it doesn't really hurt him that much. It just...
Snooker is also a game where you constantly have to adjust your plans based on what you get. I mean, it's very rare that, you know, ooh, that looked like a kick.
Wow.
That cue ball jumped like half a mile in the air. And I don't think that was only the power of the hit, I think that was a kick as well. As I was saying, the thing with snooker is, unlike, for example, 9-ball pool, where you'll break and then you'll survey the lay on the table and you'll basically plan out your entire run out. That's something that you don't do in snooker. So you'll think maybe 2 to, in extreme cases, 3 shots ahead. And you're constantly kind of building your plan and adjusting your plan. You'll have a rough idea of what to do with the problems on the table. But it's very much a step-by-step process in that way. And he's given a good chance to Benjamin now. I was straight down the line of that shot, and his technique is very sound and there's very little movement.
It's very fluent, yes.
He's a fine-tuned player. Again, slightly overrun. It's been something that's cropped up a lot on this TV table, that players really overrun on their shots very easily. So the table is very fast. But as we said, the cloth is only 2 weeks old. It's 30 ounce 6811 cloth, so it's pretty fast to start with. Then that combined with that these are tournament class 1G balls, and they're brand new as I understand it.
Yes.
So very, very slippery.
But both players have been on this table before in the tournament, so it's not like it can come as a surprise to them. But they just need to settle in and remember what the table feels like, and then, as they say, the conditions are the same for both players.
True. And that's why it's interesting that we've, through all the matches I've seen on this TV table, all players have struggled with the same thing. They've all struggled with the speed control. He looks very confident around the black spot. He's taking these very easily. He throws his arm through in a very, very nice way. Really follows through with the entire arm.
I was just gonna say. Look at that there. Very fluent move. Comes to a natural halt. Doesn't stop the movement by himself. Just lets his arm do the work.
Lets the cue do the work, rather. The arm is just guiding the cue. Yeah. But I'm being pedantic. I'll behave myself.
Wouldn't have it any other way, Ron. That's why you're here.
Lovely lie on this red on the bottom right here. $20 points to lead. He's starting to go places, but this is where it gets trickier. A couple of open reds at the top end of the table. But he has to have exact position on this red. I think he might have tried to nudge that red away from the pink there. And if he missed a nudge like he had, in worst case he's always got the red to the top right. But he'll try and sneak this red in if it goes. It looks tight though. It looks very tight.
Perilously close to the pink.
Yeah, there's a risk of hitting the pink first here, but we'll see. Nope. Yes.
Oh, yes.
He used the entire pocket there. I was right behind that. I really didn't think that would drop. It went straight for the jaw.
And that's what happens when he needs to stay clear of the pink, is that he's a risk that he overcuts it.
And then he throws in a sloppy one like that. Just lost focus for a little bit there.
That's what Alan Norway says when you get out of the reptile part of your brain, is that he must have been thinking, oh, I sunk that very, very difficult part. Now I can just ease off 5 notches on the concentration, but you can't. Not in the game of snooker. It will punish you right away.
That's another aspect of snooker that's interesting. There's no such thing as perfection, really. It's such an unbelievably difficult game, and you can never play the perfect game, really. And even, yeah, right, the 147 is a perfect game, but nobody makes 5 in a row. It's such a difficult game. The player who comes closest to perfection is, of course, Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Yes.
He is pure magic, he is. And he'll be here next week in Copenhagen Pool Snooker House. Ronnie's doing an exhibition together with John Virgo as the host and Michaela Tab as the referee. So we'll have some big names here next week, and it'll be packed for that as well, I'm sure.
And it's been packed, 150 capacity crowd both days. Again, a testament to the effort that Lasse Petersen, the owner of Copenhagen Pool and Snooker House, really is putting into this sport. He is also trying to give back to the people who come here, making sure that they have some of these great experiences of snooker, not only on the British Isles or in Germany or in Poland, but that we can see this fantastic top-notch snooker here in Denmark as well. Very grateful for that.
Yeah, we've had top players here before. We've had Peter Ebden and Matthew Stevens already.
Yes.
So he does make an effort to get some big names in.
Yep. And myself, I've had the pleasure of having John Higgins, Mark Selby, Steve Davis, Murphy, and Mark Williams in the Copenhagen
in town a couple of years ago.
Yeah. So we had some great players here in the Nordic region, but it is a tricky proposition.
It's very expensive as well. I mean, these
Is.
players take, you can imagine Ronnie takes a fairly hefty fee, and then there's everything around it, flights and hotels, and anyway, Rune here crawling his way back into this frame.
He does not like that, and for obvious reasons.
You could see as well, he jumped up straight away. As soon as he hit that ball, he jumped up. But the lead has been cut down to only 11 points.
So the frame is wide open yet again.
Glued to the bottom cushion. Trouble for Rune. He could lay a fierce snooker behind the brown here.
The question is whether does have a path down to the left top pocket, so to nothing, or does it go down and make the snooker? Essentially listens to what Ron says.
Points for Ron. Of course, there's always many options in snooker as well. Even when you're building a break, there's, which red do you take first? In safety shots, there's usually plenty of options. Escaping from snookers, there's very seldom such a thing as a wrong shot. It does happen though, they do crop up and players do play shots where you afterwards have to wonder what happened there, what were they thinking?
What were they thinking? And when you ask them afterwards, they will even go, I don't know.
Chance for a long red for Rune.
Just ask.
Wow. Did he throw his cue at that?
Just acting we after being spot on for 147 and then for no reason at all potting the pink. What were you thinking then? He cannot tell you. He cannot tell you.
Well, I'll tell you. I was commentating on that match for Eurosport, and I thought I was, getting all giddy inside, going, I'm going to get to commentate on the 147, and then he plays for the blue, and I wanted to hang myself.
Yeah, I was blue, yes, exactly. We'll never forget the expression on the man's face when he just realizes what he's done after the pot goes in.
You'll feel a right idiot. Ooh, that red just sneaks in, and that white just stays out of the middle pocket. This looks like happy days for Benjamin now. No difficult shots here. Just do what you've been doing all week. Lovely speed control. I keep coming back to this strong side that Sweden has turned up at this tournament with. Just about all of their players performing well. And this really is convincing stuff from Benjamin. I mean, he's not afraid of his opponent at all, and he's going for the win, he's taking his shots. And he seems very comfortable out there.
Yes. Moving around the table with great confidence. Taking his time, but not hesitating either.
Ooh. Close to that lovely shot.
24.
What does Rune do? 24 in at 18 on. That's 2 snookers. He is going to have a go here. Not an easy shot to start with.
He needs to keep the blue on the table to keep as many options to get him behind the lines.
Almost sort of a containing safety, that. And I think he's gotten the snooker from the looks of it.
the swerve shot should be possible with the blue that close to the corner.
Yeah, I can play it off the right hand cushion with no trouble. The only thing you have to avoid on that shot is the in-off. And Benjamin is in the fortunate position, he doesn't have to try and get any snooker or anything, he just has to make sure he doesn't commit a foul.
Has to stay out of trouble, and then the frame should sooner or later be decided to his advantage. And that does not help Rune in his efforts. You really need...
That is end the frame. 2-0 to the young Swedishman, who takes a convincing lead and then makes a convincing start against Rune.
Feel free out there to get some more coffee out of the local pot wherever you are. We will do the same here. Ron and I will be right back for frame 3 of the final of the Nordic Championships in snooker from Copenhagen Pool and Snooker House.
Frame 3 of the final of the 2016 Nordic Snooker Championship. Rune Kampe breaking, being 2-0 behind, and that is not a good start to the third frame. Hitting the blue on the breakoff. Very strong start from the Swedish competitor. Oh, he's on fire now, he's found his gear. And he's going to keep potting those balls as long as they're there. Very convincing start from this young man against an experienced competitor. And there's about 3 or 4 reds here for the taking. This could be a very high one. And then there is the sort of sloppy miss, really, to be honest. A lot of reds there for the taking, a lot of points there for the taking. And misses a careless red very early on in the break. Aggressive safety from Rune opens a lot of reds up and leaves Benjamin a long red on the left hand side, and we've already discussed how much he likes long pots, so will he have a go?
Well, 2-0 ahead.
I think I might.
He could, with a good break here, he would really have a commanding grip on this final at Nordic Championship. So, if you're a betting man, Ron,
what odds will you give? Ooh, close, close, close. And this is where in a best of 7 the scoreline is very, very significant, because 2-1 or 3-0 is a massive, massive difference. Of course, every frame is important, but the further you get to the business end of the match, 3-0 leads, especially in the convincing fashion in which the 2-0 lead has come. So if Benjamin increases to 3-0, then Rune really is in trouble.
Rune stepping away from the table there, disgusted with himself, knowing that he missed yet another opportunity to compose a break that would get him back into this game and get him comfortable around the table. He's really struggling, and I mean, we saw the same thing in the semi-final. It was a very scrappy semi-final against Yuri as well, and he hasn't seemed to be able to find his game in the break between those two matches either. He's still struggling.
Yeah, that's true, but he's actually struggling more in this game than he was against Yuri. He's not really turned up in this match yet, to be honest. I mean, that also has to do with Benjamin's excellent play. But the chances that Rune has had, he's not done enough with at all. Worrying signs for the Danish side. And it's gone very quiet around us here, I must say. There's a good 25 or so spectators, and there's another handful here in the bar area where we are. So there's definitely interest in this game.
Kim Hartmann looking very comfortable in his chair over there at the back of the room, looking at his protege, doing a very, very good job here.
Yeah, Kim really does. Of course, he's the Swedish snooker commentator. So he knows the sport inside out. He took the first table to Sweden in 1982. He's an accredited referee as well. He's refereed many European and World Amateur Championships. And he's refereed the only maximum break to be made on Swedish soil. That was Elaine Robidoux in, I believe, 86, off the top of my head. So he's a force in Swedish snooker, and he has a lot of time for these young Swedish players. There's a team of about 5, 6, 7 of them who get a lot of coaching, a lot of guidance. He travels with them, along with Nisse, who owns the club in Stockholm, Snooker Hallen. That's worth a visit if you're there. The Krukmakargatan in Stockholm is a fantastic club with a lot of people in there with a heart for the game.
Yes.
I think their website is snookerhallen.se, but I'm not entirely sure, but they're on Facebook as well, and that club is definitely worth a visit. It's a wonderful place.
Yes. That's where I had my first snooker moment, so to speak. Trying the game out for one of the very first time when I was with Eurosport as well, and we were playing snooker, and I was left with a pot from the D down on the pink, and I just queued up and I went for it, and the pink disappeared into the pocket like it was never coming up again, and I just said, now I've done it, I'm not going to play anymore. I've had the sensation, I've had the feeling of perfection.
I actually played an event there as well. I played one of the ranking events, ended up in the final. I went 1-0 down, and I played the silliest shot I've ever seen to go 1-1. And the momentum was on my side, so I would have won it if I just played the right shot there. So that's an agony point. Who knows what the future will bring. Chance again for Rune, and he really, really, really has to start taking his chances. Easy red, easy black. Reds are open. Chance here.
But again, the cue ball gets away from the players.
Yeah, and this is what happens as well when you're not playing really well. I mean, if you're playing well, that cue ball would have nudged that red further to the right, and you would have been plumb on the red to the right-hand corner. But he really is struggling. And then you never get the luck either if you're struggling. The balls don't go your way somehow. There is the red just top left of the cue ball, and that can go to the corner, maybe even the middle. But do you want to take that on in his current form?
Corner pocket, it looks like.
No, middle, I think.
Middle pocket, yes.
He had good position on the pink.
Nowhere near.
Not good enough.
Is that a situation, Ron, where with the consideration of going for the red up by the yellow and just taking the safe and then settling in again instead of dishing up too complex shots for yourself?
Well, the problem is that if you're not playing well, that long pot towards the yellow corner was difficult enough already. So this pot that he attempted was easier, and the safety is made difficult by the red being up there by the yellow.
Well, I would have hit the red up there by the yellow and then just snuck in on the lower cushion. That
might have worked.
Left pocket there seems to be neglecting both players' efforts.
Benjamin doing well to cover up the red on the top left there. He's probably thinking, if I pot this red, I'm on the blue. And if I don't pot it, I'll leave it safe. Shot to nothing from Rune, and he couldn't really leave that red top left. Easy return, safe for Benjamin. He just glues it to that top cushion. His safety is just as good as his potting at the moment. I'm really very impressed with this young man.
Yeah, Rune acknowledging the effort as well. Snooker here, again being shown as the true gentleman sport. You recognize well-played shots by your opponent as well as you enjoy your own. It is one of the very nice aspects of this game.
Yeah, the other great example of that is always that players will always call fouls on themselves, regardless of whether there is a referee or not, or whether the referee sees it or not. This gentlemanly behavior is very important in snooker. And again, you know, these shots that Rune misses, he's done this 3 or 4 times. He throws his cue at them, and you know, the cue after the shot goes all the way up into the air. Yeah. He's really just chucking his cue at this. Worrying sign. Left an easy red for Benjamin, and he just has to roll forward a little bit to leave himself on the yellow here. Nothing difficult.
You can almost think like that Rune had been watching The Color of Money last night before these games that he's queuing right now.
Yeah, it looks like a 9-ball break, doesn't it?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Benjamin will think, fine by me, thank you very much, I'll just tidy up here. Well now. Ooh. Well now. That is a very dodgy shot indeed. Maybe he realized a little bit too much that this is a chance to clear the frame. It just got in his head a little bit, maybe.
And some players will say that 80% of snooker is actually the game being played between your ears and not by your hands and your cue.
Yeah, that has to do with the level of these players as well. Like when you get up to these guys' level or even higher up, then you know that the fundamentals are there. You know your cue action is good, you know your inside's good, etc., etc. And then it's just about keeping yourself composed and making sure you choose the right shots, not letting the opponent or the situation affect you. And then yes, it is played 90% in the head, because if you play as many hours as these guys do, then it becomes muscle memory after a while. So you don't have to worry about the actual cueing as much. You just make sure to do the same routine as you always do on every single shot. Consistency again is an important word in snooker.
And David, through having a fairly easy day at the office so far, no tricky replacing of balls after the white has gone all around the table and kicking up dust all over the place. So far, he just gives us a thumbs up. He seems happy with the situation, and we are happy with the situation now that Rune is finally looking on track to building a break here that can get him back into the match and get him comfortable.
Yeah, it would really deserve a final where both players are top of their game. So if Rune can get going here, we'll make a nice tight battle of this one. And if we look at problems here, well, there's this cluster of 3 reds by the bottom cushion. Well, the top one of that goes to the left. It goes to the right as well, but not as easily. Mm-hmm. The other 2 will become tricky. I'd say the best thing is to take the middle one first and then take the left one, and then leaving the bottom one for last. And hopefully by then the frame is already won, because he is already 35 points ahead.
Wisely placed down, right. Yeah.
36.
Got the angle on the pink for the next red to the left top corner. Maybe that's what he's looking for, getting pink back on its spot.
And the other advantage is that if you take this red in the top half of the table next, and that leaves the top of the half of the table clear of red. So if you have to play it safe, you don't have to worry about a red being up there.
Exactly.
42 points to lead. 75 on. So not very long to go.
All depending on the colors, 2 or 3 reds here should secure Rune a frame. Not jinxing anything.
Commentator's curse.
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, while I go and kick myself in my mouth.
Open mouth, insert foot.
Yes. Frustrating situation here for Rune. He did the right thing. I mean, he was doing the right thing from a strategic point of view, and then still, unforgiving table, tough queuing.
Well, still, whichever way you put it, that red should have gone in.
Yes.
But Benjamin's long putting is leaving him a little bit at the moment. That one wasn't close. Lovely shot from Rune. Good position on the black.
The good thing is to see that they're both still striking the cue ball like they believe, they have confidence that they have a shot, that they have a chance, that they can play well.
Well, this frame is the first time that Rune has looked like that in the match. I mean, the first 2 frames he didn't turn up at all.
Nope.
This is starting to look better from him, even though he missed a red earlier. He's starting to get there.
And developed the 2 difficult reds you were just speaking about, Ron, beautifully here.
That's a bit soft. It's a bit soft, but the black will still go. And I wonder if he'll try and play position for that red up in bulk. It's not easy to get at, but since you're kind of turning the white loose with the black anyways, might not be a bad idea. Alternatively, he could go for the pink.
He is deciding on the black.
Oh, he could leave himself on the bottom left one here. Now then. Trouble afoot. 58 lead. 59 on. But that 59 will be 4 reds, 4 blacks.
Yes.
And there's a red up in the top half of the table. And the one by the middle doesn't look too favorable either, so this is not an easy clearance.
Not at all. Now he has to go all the way up and come down again for the black. Unless he he draws it back. No.
Wow, what a
See,
shot.
Oh
no, look at this.
The luck of the Irish has
moved to Sweden.
Moved to Sweden.
That really helped him out, that shot did. He did have position on the black though, so the red that he missed to the top right corner. Very, very close. But he'll gladly take a little bit of luck. And that red tickled the cushion a little bit before going in. Now, here comes the tricky one. That's a good shot.
That is very well composed shot.
That is a very good shot. It's actually a little bit short. He could have done with half a roll more. And now he has to throw a bit more power into this. Oh, look at that. Where's the yellow? Just nudge that yellow. And that's left this black very tricky. This is an important shot. Try and keep it down, but I'm pretty sure. Very thin slice. And the yellow's in his way.
And that
Very
seems
close,
to go
very
in.
Close. It does go in.
What a great putt from the young Swede here.
Unbelievable putts.
Tons of pressure on young man's shoulder, and he still manages this thin slices.
24, the difference 25 on. It does not get closer than this. And such a crucial frame, 3-0 or 2-1. Really a very big deal. Bounces it off the top cushion. That's a confident shot to play. Blue to pink.
Getting a delayed response from the people here at Copenhagen Pool House watching on the YouTube channel. There is a bit of delay, so they just applauded the cut on the black. Now Benjamin needs to get back here on the rest shot. That's not easy either.
There's a trick at the red and there's a risk of a miscue. That's about as much as he could do with that, really. That was a very difficult shot. There is the cut to the bottom left here. Played with a lot of side to try and hold the cue ball.
That seems to go.
A miss. That's a miss. That's a miss.
When he leaves it for Rune.
Oh, that will really sting because that clearance was fantastically on the way.
Rune just needs this pink.
And then we have a fight on our hands. Fantastic effort though.
Wow.
I really thought he was going to steal that. Not over yet. He just didn't hit it well.
He does not hit this one either. He leaves opportunity for Benjamin again.
Did you see? He's not going through the ball well. He sort of pushed his cue over that, and he's done that a few times now. Nope.
But he...
Now this is pressure.
Wow.
And this is the pressure.
To quote my good friend Henrik Kai Hansen, I cannot stand this anymore.
And just say hello to the legend that is Henrik Kai Hansen. I think he's listening in on his holidays at the moment. So he left us to
pick up the pieces.
Basically. Rune very wisely deciding to go defensive here, and what snooker that is, and that comes at a very good time for him.
Changes the pace of the game as well. If the offensive part hasn't worked, the putting hasn't worked, then what do? We change. We try something new. That is...
Benjamin hits it, and did you see how quickly he was down on that? He decides very quickly what he wants to play and just gets down and hits it. That's a good thing, because you don't give yourself time to consider what could go wrong. And if you're playing well, then that's a good thing to do. And it was partially a gamble where the pink would finish. It's finished fortunate for him. I try and leave the white at the top and bring the pink down.
Oh,
again, he jumped up.
He jumps up. He gets away with it though.
Yeah.
Unless the pink comes up too high here.
I've never seen him do that to this extent before. If he's not playing well, he does it on 1 or 2 shots, but he's done it at least 8 times in this match. Where he just jumps up immediately after striking the ball. Return safe from Benjamin. And I think Rune can get at this with a swerve.
Yes. At least half a ball there.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. That's not good news for the Danish camp. Very good news for the Swedish camp. Chance for 3-0. It's just about the position on the black, and he can snag this frame by 1 single point. This looks good. This looks very good.
Is very, very good snooker.
Now. That's it. Benjamin McCabe steals the third frame by a single point. That is enough to give him a 3-0 lead in this game. And Rune Kampe has things to worry about. He's not hitting the ball well so far. And this steal will really hurt him.
And we're back with the fourth frame of this Nordic Championship final from Copenhagen Pool and Snooker House. Benjamin McCabe comfortably settling in here with a 3-love lead over Rune Kampe. Well, double O's for Rune here. He really hasn't been in form at all. He had a chance at this third frame, but left the opportunities that was awarded him on the table for Benjamin to capitalize on, and Rune now has the knife to his throat, and that is how you then react, isn't it? Fantastic long putt here by Rune, giving him a chance to continue.
Yes, a lovely position on the blue as well. We'll have to see how many he can make here. And truth be told, these previous 3 frames, Rune Kampe hasn't turned up so far, and Benjamin has been playing very well indeed. He's been taking his chances, he's looked fluent and comfortable around the table. The situation hasn't fazed him so far, but he is 1 frame away from winning a big title, his first big title. His first international, second international title.
Yes.
Did he make the finals in the Baltic or did he win it?
He won the Baltic Cup Grand Finale.
Yes, he won the Grand Finale in the Baltic Cup. Either way, this would be a very significant win for him because this was a strong field. And again, Rune loses the cue ball. The table is so fast. I was talking a little bit with Rune about his cue before. Very old John Paris he plays with, about 15 years old, that cue. He's had it modified to put a thread in so that he can have a little mini extension on the back. This cue is, I think this cue probably won him all of his Danish titles in that case. Most of them anyway.
And he can see the red. That was what I was looking for.
And what does he do here? Because the loose reds that are there are very tricky to get position on. So he might do well to play high on the blue and open something up. Rune trying to make something happen, nudges a red out from beside the black. Lovely shot that. Really a lovely shot. And he needed that. He needed a confidence boost. Slightly, turned it over to luck, and he finally had some luck. Lovely shot. Nudges the black off the bottom cushion. Lovely position again. The question is, can he come back from this 3-0 deficit? It's a best of 7, remember. So he needs all of the 4 remaining frames. The 4 remaining possible frames, we should say. We've seen a few nice comebacks during this tournament, and one that I remember very clearly was the quarter-final between Simon Lindblom and Christopher Watts. Watts 3-1 ahead, and Lindblom came back to win that 4-3, and that was an excellent game as well. So comebacks do happen. It's all still possible.
Even in the round robin, we saw some of the young players getting ahead 2-0 against some of the more experienced players, but then the more experienced players, they grinded it out. Yuri was one of them, down 2-0 and ending up winning 3-2 against a young Swede as well. So comebacks do happen.
Now, we have a question tweeted in from a certain Mr. Christopher Watts that's a little bit suspect. Question being, which player in the Nordic Champs has the best beard? And considering he's, I believe, the only one with a beard, I think that's cheating, Chris.
Yes. We will then paraphrase it into remaining players with the best beard, and then we can say none. Does that crawl in the... Oh, he leaves it. Rune cannot believe that he's left that red. Finally trying to get some traction here, and he misses this pot.
And this is a situation where you have to be very exact with your positional play, because there is reds that go, but they only go from certain angles and from certain places. So all through this break, if he is to make one, he'll have to be very exact indeed. 31 points the lead now for Rune.
25 in a bit.
.26 actually.
Oh, sorry, yes.
It's also very good for your arithmetic.
No, I did say in a bit, and now it's...
Fair enough. I'll let you off the hook. A lot of people actually ask that question about snooker. A lot of non-players especially ask that. How do you keep track of the scores? And I don't know about you, but for me it's mostly kind of patterns. You recognize the pattern of red blue, for example, 1-5, 1-5. That becomes 2 sets of 6, becomes 12. So a lot of this is patterns. Three pinks and a black, 29. You know, you start realizing these patterns.
Actually, so if you were Rune's coach now, and we would have a time to freeze this match right now, what would you tell him? What would you tell him to do in order to get a foot back in this match at all?
I tell him to go out of the, or before this frame I would have told him, get out of the arena for a little bit, clear your head, forget all about the previous 3 frames, pretend it's a new match, nothing has happened yet, it's 0-0. Just go out, try and play your own game. Don't think too much, don't overthink the situation, don't think, oh, I've got to come back here because I'm 3-0 down. Just go out and play the game. And that's all you could really tell him, I'd say, because there's no point in overanalyzing what's going on. He knows what's right and wrong with his game. And that is, I believe, what the coaches with the top players as well do. You know, there's no point in telling the top player that, oh, you have to play this red next, or you have to play that red next.
Oh, exactly.
They'll discuss situations which come up. They might tweak their cue action every so slightly if they've spotted problems, but mostly they'll work on getting them in the right mindset and working on the mental aspect of the game.
Yes, it is. It is a cliche, but it is really about getting to the place in your game where you just focus on the next pot and absolutely nothing else. And it's so easy to say, it's very few words to say, but to execute on it and to stay true to it, it is extremely difficult.
Yeah, it's one of those cliches that, like many, it's actually the truth. It just gets very oft repeated. I'm sure Benjamin would like to repeat that shot, because this didn't turn out too well.
Chinese snookered himself on the black here almost.
Would have liked a bit more top on that, to follow through for the black.
So what does he do here? Does he try and nail the lid on the coffin here, or does he play it safe and say, okay, I've had my visit and I will have my other chances because I can see that my opponent hasn't been queuing too well.
Well, it looks as if he's going for the pot. The other option would be to play off 2 cushions and try and hit the brown. I think he's having a look and see if this would work. No, playing the safety off the black instead.
Yes. And hats off for the strategic abilities here of this young Swede. I think that was a very excellent choice.
That shows maturity in this game, that shot choice.
Almost caught the jaw of the pocket there, but he gets away with it, Rune. And here he underpowers the cue ball a bit. He would have liked to have been further down behind the colours there, taking some of the angles away from Benjamin.
There's a long red on here. His long game isn't there this match, has to be said.
Where is the red go? Oh, would have been the second fluke to the same pocket for Benjamin if that had gone in.
Now his long game isn't there this match yet. Missed a few of those. The chance goes back to Rune, who's still 7 points ahead. And this, I mean, this has to be a frame win. Look at how the reds are positioned.
Beautiful position shot there down between the 2 reds. Comes up on the black.
Fidgety little angle on the black. Not really that acute of an angle. Ooh, nice little favourable nudge. I think he's due one of those.
Yes, something going Rune's way finally here. And something going the snooker fans' way as well, because we are, after all, regardless of who we're rooting for as much snooker as possible.
We always want more snooker.
I think it's in the Danish constitution, all finals should go to the final frame.
I'm sure Rune agrees with you, because he needs a final frame if he is to retain his Nordic Championship title, because we shouldn't forget this man has taken himself to the final 2 years in a row. And that in itself is no mean feat already, because there is plenty of decent players in the Nordic countries these days. We've seen many of them here. This is a tough tournament, it really is. And, you know, to the audiences across Europe, many of these names might not be very well known, but a lot of these names have been in many a European and World Amateur Championship. So there is experience.
40 players strong started here in Copenhagen on Wednesday morning from all 5 Nordic countries. I think it's one of the strongest turnouts for a Nordic Championship in a long time.
Well, it is only the second Nordic Championship in a very long time.
Yes.
But
yeah, no, the field only had three or four of the countries participating, I think.
The last one had 4 countries. Finland had to pull out, and there was a bit of an imbalance as well. There was more players from one country than the other, and this time it's very evenly divided. 8 groups with 1 player from each country in each group. I think this is an extremely good format actually for a tournament like this. Yeah, strong players and slightly weaker players in every group, but all the matches were interesting. So yeah, it's been a very successful tournament. And we should give a huge credit to Peter Javason, the tournament director, who's made everything run smoothly.
And frame ball here for Rune Kampe, a sigh of relief going through the Danish contingent and Rune as well, I think. Yes. Applause coming out from around the spectators. And what he really wants now is he wants to clear this table. He wants to clear this table and get the rhythm going again.
Trying to see if the green passes the brown. It looks like it does. I don't think he'll get the clearance, but I don't think he'll care very much about the clearance. The important point is that this match is still on and Rune is still here.
What a beautiful pot. That's
shot.
very well played by Rune. Perfect position on the brown here.
That's more the sort of thing we're used to from him.
And smiles on all the spectators' faces here. They can look forward to a bit more snooker here from Copenhagen Pool and Snooker House.
But all the Danish ones anyway.
Yeah, I think even the Swedes are confident enough to say, yeah, give him one.
Well, again, I mean, snooker is a gentleman's game. You know, they'll have respect for the way Rune has responded here and for the way he's taken this frame. Fact is, there will be a fifth frame. Benjamin McCabe again needing a frame to win the title. Rune Kampe is still in it. 3 frames to 1. It looks like we're going to have a bit of an interval here.
Time to get the coffee machine brewing again and maybe even a bit of a snack here, because stamina is what you need for snooker.
For snooker commentary as well, I'm starving.
Yeah, exactly. So
anyway, we'll be back in about 10-15 minutes, I'd say.
And we are back with the final session of the Nordic Championships in snooker here from Copenhagen Pool and Snooker House. Rune Kampe breaking off here in the fifth frame. Ron Florix and Hans-Peter Roth are here in the commentary booth working with the audio equipment that we have available to us. We hope that you don't get too much ambient noise out there, and if you do, then we hope it conveys the fantastic atmosphere that we have here in Copenhagen Pool and Snooker House. A lot of people turning up today for the final, and there's a good atmosphere and quality all the way in top, and prices all the way to the bottom. It's a fantastic combination, isn't it, Ron?
Definitely, and we also apologize for the lack of any sound from the actual table, so we'll have to do without the referees and the sound of the balls. We've had a bit of technical difficulty today, so we're trying to do the best we can. So hopefully you'll bear with us. And look at that cracking long red from Rune. That is a confident start, and he needs confidence. He needs to build on winning the last frame and just start playing his own natural game. We all know what a good player he is. He's proven it many times over. Just needs to get a roll. Stretching very far to get at this pink. Oh, lovely pot. And Benjamin McCabe has been extremely confident in this match, and he's not won frames in one visit, but then that seems to be a bit of a rarity this tournament anyway. He's been very confident, he's gone for his shots, and his safety has been extremely tight as well. And Rune just hasn't really turned up yet before this fourth frame that he won. So can he push it all the way to a decider? Just a little nudge, and now he's wrong side of the blue. These little unfortunate nudges. There's only so much you can account for as well, but you'd love those to go your way, wouldn't you?
Yeah. So still going for the blue, coming down and back.
That's a little bit soft, maybe a little bit closer to cushion than he ideally would prefer. But the point is, this red goes right in the line of the shot here, and the problem is the position.
There's no obvious color to continue on there. He needs to work with the cue ball to get his position here, and that's not what he wants to do right now.
I think he's trying to get on the right hand side of the black, not try to pull it up for the blue. He was forced into that.
Leaves a pot to the right corner pocket for Benjamin McCabe here in the fifth frame.
And again, Rune sort of jumped up on that shot, and that's been something that's really characterized his performance today. He jumps up on the shot. Now, he always has a fair bit of movement after he strikes the ball, but this seems to be much more than normal. So will the confidence of youth and the hours of training and hard work of this young player be enough to lift the title? Not on this opportunity.
Again, Rune comes up a bit early in the shot. I think.
Yeah. Again, where we are here, we say commentary booth. We're in a corner of the bar, really, but working very well, lovely. But we were right in the line of that shot, and not only did he jump up, he also cued across that. So
all sorts of stuff happening here.
Yeah, Benjamin used to take these chances in the first three frames. A little bit of frustration there. He knows these are chances that he should be taking. These are chances for him to win the tournament. So when he gets these chances, he can't afford to just let them go like this. As a player of Rune's capabilities, will not keep making mistakes. At some point, he'll find this flow. It's up to Benjamin to make sure that the match is gone before that happens. bit sharp on the brown, so we'll have to go for the green. Head downwards, bottom right on this. Very solid technique has Rune. He just goes through the ball so lovely.
Yeah, when he's in the zone, he is a magnificent player to watch.
And he's shown signs of that today as well. It's just these mistakes here and there where suddenly all of that, you know, the things we're complimenting him on now don't show themselves. They suddenly just disappear for one shot. But he's always been very consistent. His technique has been very consistent. He's a sort of solid player you can depend on. But he's just made too many of these sorts of mistakes today. At first glance, he hasn't left anything here.
No, he can't really cut because of the blue.
And this is not too easy because there's also a red up in bulk. And there's a red here close to the bottom cushion that goes towards the right corner. So red is safe here. Do you know, he could play the red on the right hand side of the blue and leave him snookered behind the blue. Then only reds he could leave would be the two on the right hand side. That's probably the best option.
And he listens wisely to your advice, Ron.
That's the first.
Rune again acknowledging the great safe shot here, the snooker left for him by Benjamin McCabe. Rune not challenged so much on striking the red ball, it's just to make sure that he doesn't leave anything open for Benjamin.
Yeah, he wants to hit this full ball so that he nudges the red downwards and leaves the white as close to the balk line as he can, preferably above it. He's decided to go for the snooker. What a lovely shot.
Fantastic wrist shot here.
We're nearly in the line of this shot. And you know what? This red might go to the middle.
It just might, yes. He is looking for it.
I'm fairly sure this goes.
Can see Benjamin lining up here. And he makes the pot. He has been really rock solid at these. When he's had these opportunities, it hasn't been the first pot that has been his challenge. It's actually been to follow through, I think.
Yeah, I guess that's what you describe as a great single ball potter. Something that's said of most notably Mark Williams very often. I've always thought that was a bit of a strange term because it kind of implies that they pot one good ball and then miss. I always think it's a bit of a strange term. But yeah, he does pull out some pots, this boy.
He does. Getting all the hardware out here.
In Holland, where I grew up, we call this going fishing. You get the long instruments out. Lovely slice in that.
Yes.
And he's got a shot on the pink. A cute angle. Again with the rest. And the problem with this is that if he misses it, he'll leave Rune plumb on a red.
It just goes in.
Better just in than just out.
It's not how it goes in. It's that it goes in.
That can be our snooker saying. We made up a catchphrase.
Very composed effort here by Benjamin, I think.
Yeah, I've been very impressed, especially by his maturity. He's got a very, very mature game. His safety game is very mature. That shot on the blue, for example, that's not an obvious shot. And then his, the confidence he shows around the table when he's got these scoring opportunities. All right, he's not making frame winners, but he's very, he keeps a nice even pace around the table, and his technique is very solid indeed. Look at that. Straight through. Trusting a bit to luck when it came to position, but that is a very flush hit.
But that is what the putters can do, isn't it? I mean, they don't need to be that preoccupied with the positioning game because they know that they have a chance almost regardless of which putt they're left with.
Yeah, that's a good point. And he seems to be good off the cushion as well. Cue ball close to the cushion there. Something many players struggle with. I'd say all aspects of his game are quite good. I've not seen any obvious weaknesses in his game. So if he just keeps on going the way he is, then who knows where he'll be in 4 or 5 years' time. Let's just toy with the idea. What if a Swedish player was on the main tour?
Exactly.
That would be great for snooker in Sweden and in Europe.
And taking nothing away from what we've seen also out of Finland and Norway, but a native Nordic player making it that far. That's I think is
yeah. What you're referring to there, of course, Kurt Mafflin and Robin Hull both have English parentage, I believe.
Yes. Being lured into this region by love, I think.
As many are. That's how I ended up in Sweden. That's all my missus' fault. Well, anyway, it would be great for snooker in the Nordics if a player from Sweden can make it through. Because Sweden, out of these 5 countries, has traditionally, I think, been the weakest country. But the last 2, 3, 4 years, my word, have they taken a shot up. There's also plenty of history now of Swedish players in the European and the World Amateur tournaments. Even in Q School and the odd PTC here and there.
Yeah.
And they're giving a good account of themselves.
And this looks to be a very, very advantageous situation for Benjamin McCabe here. Just needing this frame to lift the trophy and doing something that not many other 19-year-olds have been doing before him.
And I don't think there's many 19-year-olds either who earn €1,200 in 4 days. So that will help. Of course, snooker is a very expensive sport, all this traveling around, and they do get help from the National Federation. I don't believe that the players in Sweden get help from the Swedish government. I'm not quite sure about that, so don't pin me down on that. But it's an expensive sport to play, so the money will be welcome. But he's not there yet, and he's run out of position. Will it be a safety, or will he risk going for this pot?
He will go for the pot.
Indeed he will.
But that
he'll
was
miss
not even
it,
close.
but he'll get away with it.
Bit odd of applause there, I don't think.
The applause was for the break, I'd say. The break itself was very well constructed, but the last shot, I think it looked worse than it was because he missed it fairly early down on the cushion and then kicked the white.
Now Rune needs this pot to go in.
Again, up off the shot immediately. 33 points the difference. 59 on.
You can see second red from the left, and but he can't get it into the same pocket again. That pocket has been very evil to the two players, I must say. It's been the nemesis pocket of this table for this match at least. They've both missed a couple of pots for the left middle pocket.
Yeah, and that was an easy pot as well. That's the kind of pot you'd want when you're looking for a chance to win a title. Missed it. Maybe a slight sign of nerves.
Again, Rune comes up almost immediately.
It actually has gotten to the point that you're looking for it now. You're looking for him to jump up. I'm sure it's something that, with a couple of days practice, he'll very easily get it out of his game. The problem is that you can't, fix this very easily during an actual match. You might not even realize that he's doing it. but I'm firmly convinced that that's the reason he's missing pots.
And then a thin slice here by Benjamin McCabe puts him right back in the driver's seat.
The chance is here. The chance has arrived. He needs to hold his composure. Benjamin McCabe is a few pots away from winning this Nordic Championship, beating last year's winner and beating the man who put him out of the tournament last year in the semi-final stage. Kick on that red. It doesn't even throw him off. He's going to keep going.
$41 left on the table.
43 ahead, I believe.
Yes.
So that is it, barring snookers. And he'll want this red to make sure of the title. If this red drops, it's all over. And there the red vanishes, in it goes, and this title is going to Sweden.
In the young hands of Benjamin McCabe, out of Gothenburg.
My word, he's played this final well.
Oh, look at that.
Look at this.
Doesn't
very, very convincing performance indeed. And he really has deserved this title. He's played this final extremely well. And Rune in his chair, you can see him kind of working out whether or not he'll have a go if Benjamin misses this, but he doesn't look happy.
No. And what happens here? Rune looks at it.
Rune, what will you do?
And he is a fighter.
One more go. Let's do the maths. 51 the difference, 35 on. 4 snookers to tie, if I'm not mistaken. There's one. And this is not impossible.
No.
Because a story that was told to me a while ago, Luca Brissell in a Belgian ranking event required 8 snookers, went for them, and he got 7.
Wow.
So it is doable. And for Benjamin, it's just a matter of holding his composure, keeping his composure, not giving anything away. And this puts Rune in a near impossible position because his best chance of getting these snookers would have been a free ball on the last red.
Yeah.
He'll have to have the black off this. Yes, he's trying to keep it out of the pocket. He manages to keep it out of the pocket.
Wow.
And he's managed to get it safe. I can't believe that went out of the pocket. And all Benjamin has to do is keep his composure, wait for a half-decent attempt at a pot, and not do anything silly.
Can Rune capitalize on the line between green and pink here?
Well, that's a very good attempt.
We get a lucky bounce there. That's what he was looking for.
This is not a bad attempt, you know.
Swerve shot for Benjamin here.
Good hit. Good hit.
And
oh dear, he flukes a snooker in response.
Calculated upside, I would say, because that outcome was not too unlikely, but...
No, that's true, I suppose. That's a good effort from Rune.
Does it crawl in behind yellow? Does it stay? It comes out. At least he has a half ball on that one, if not a full.
Shot to nothing for Benjamin. This red is absolutely the last ball he'll require for this title.
If this goes away, so does the trophy from the Danish contingent.
Rune indeed a fighter. He would not have gotten his 12 Danish championship titles without being a fighter. If you put in that sort of a career performance, then you know how to play this game, you know how to win tough matches. He's proven it many times over. He's a scorer as well. He's made the only century in this tournament. So he'll just keep right on going. He's got the experience, he's seen it all before. But I wonder if this isn't one step too far. It's 4 snookers to tie. It's highly unlikely. Very impressed with McCabe's performance, though. Solid in all aspects of the game today. Beat his countryman Simon Lindblom in the semi-finals. Beat Ahti Tolvanen from Finland in the quarterfinals, 4-2 if I remember right. Semi-finals last year, and barring, to be honest, a miracle,
Yes.
he's bringing that cup home.
But the longer this frame will drag on, the more time, you said, is left for doubt to creep into Benjamin McCabe's head.
At the same time, he'll be confident until he's given away 2, maybe 3 snookers. He's in an extremely favorable position.
And we know that he is a thinker as well. So he knows that this is exactly as you said. The likelihood of Rune pulling this off is very slim.
Yeah.
And as long as he can focus on that fact, he should be able to maintain his composure and finish off the game.
And also what I like about Benjamin's game is he thinks so fast. He's got a very good snooker brain. He picks usually the right shot, but he picks it very fast as well. Usually by the time the ball stops running, he's down.
Yep.
So he makes his decisions quickly. And they're usually the right ones. There's a lovely snooker from Rune.
Snooker from Rune Kampe, and everybody in the audience is acknowledging the fact.
This man is not going down without a fight. No matter how unlikely it may seem, he's still having a go. And this has happened during this tournament. People have won frames from 3 snookers behind. That is a miss, I think.
Most definitely.
That's 1.
The slimmest of misses.
That's 1. You know, another snooker and then a free ball. That might just about do it.
Try to hide the red behind the yellow.
And the white behind the pink.
Half of the operation succeeded.
Yeah, I think Benjamin can swerve this without too much trouble. And leave half an attempt at a snooker himself.
Again, Rune acknowledging the shot done by Benjamin McCabe here. It is really fantastic snooker we're seeing right now. Not the breaks, but the tactics and the execution of this safe and snooker play is fantastic.
And also the context of the match, you know, with a young talented player against an older experienced player. You know, there's a big clash of, I wouldn't say styles, but a clash of backgrounds there almost. You know, Rune has been around this game longer than Benjamin's been around on this planet. Makes it a fascinating encounter. Yet it's Benjamin who's had the temperament and who's clearly had the mental upper hand in the game.
And look again how he designs his game so that it's a pot attempt, but he knows that if he plays it like this, he will most likely leave Rune with a snooker to negotiate. He's playing like a seasoned pro.
Exactly, I was going to say it's maturity beyond his years, really. He's got a very, very developed snooker brain. He sees a lot of potential situations before they happen, and he takes them into account. And Rune is trying to pull out all the tricks he has. This is a snooker, but it's dead easy to hit.
Would have needed white to stay behind the yellow in that situation, but
Now then,
that was more than the snooker that Rune was hoping for, huh? 7 points instead of 4, and that changes the dynamics of the whole thing.
it does. That was catastrophe for McCabe. There's still 40 points in it with 35 on. But you know, Rune is still here and still fighting, and he's a lot closer than he was 5 minutes ago. Can he pull off this miracle?
Will a fig of a doubt start to crawl into Benjamin's head here? He wasn't even close to getting around the black there.
That was another example of Rune jumping up there.
Yeah, exactly.
He's still got the same problem, even though he's in there fighting. It's the same thing that's held him back the whole match. I talked to Rune during the interval. I deliberately didn't say what I'd seen, but he did say he was feeling like he was playing well. He just wasn't. So he's feeling better than his game is showing.
Interesting. So, is that a good or a bad thing that you're out of sync apparently with what seems to everybody else to be apparent, that his game isn't flowing well, but he still thinks he is? I mean, is that good or bad?
Well, I think it's still good, because the main thing you need when you're not playing well is you need confidence. You need to have belief in yourself. You need to believe that I can pull this off. I can still start playing. I am here.
But he just may not be for much longer, because now he has left.
Yeah. This really is it. The black is over the hole. Yes. If this red disappears, then the handshake will come. The red disappears.
There it goes.
There's no way back here now, I don't think. This title is going to Göteborg. Yep, resigned expression from Rune.
Yeah.
This is it.
If he'd had a bow tie on, he would have loosened it by now.
Very, very confident and very impressive performance from the young Swede. Benjamin McCabe is the 2016 Nordic Snooker Champion. Very well deserved applause. Fantastic performance that belies his years. He's played a very mature game, and what a fantastic tournament we've had here. There'll be a prize giving ceremony now. I think we're going to close off in the commentary here.
Yes.
Thank you, Hans-Peter, for joining me.
Thank you, Ron. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Likewise. Thank you to Copenhagen Pool Snooker House for hosting this great event. Thank you especially to Peter Gavras and the tournament director for doing an excellent job. Referees, and of course, you viewers out there who've been living this tournament with us. We'll hopefully be back next year. We'll have to see where, we'll have to see when.
It's confirmed out of Reykjavik next year already.
It is confirmed.
It is confirmed.
Right.
Everybody is going to the rock-solid island up in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean.
We're going to Iceland, boys. Happy days.
Happy days. Thank you from Copenhagen Pool and Snooker House and the Nordic Championships in snooker.
Good night.
And if anybody is still watching out there, we have just confirmed that we will actually be back with an interview with the newly crowned Nordic champion of snooker, Benjamin McCabe, playing out of Gothenburg in Sweden. So after the presentation ceremony here at Copenhagen Pool Snooker House, we will try and get young Benjamin McCabe into the booth to hear what his thoughts have been on this fantastic win from this young, talented Swedish player. So stick around, watch the trophy change hands from Denmark to Sweden. It's going across Öresund, and we'll be right back with a few words from the newly crowned champion.